Whether you work with your ancestors directly or not, if you are doing anything to improve yourself, if you are going to post-secondary school, if you have decided to take up and learn a new instrument or a new language, if you have done anything in terms of personal development, creating intergenerational wealth for you and your children, then you are honoring your ancestors. Why? Because you are a culmination of that which came before you. Your ancestors, their energy, their presence, their DNA is in your bones. Okay, you cannot escape them. And their energetic vibration, their signature is still here on this plane and within the ancestral realm that you have the capacity to tap into. Now, many of us experience anxiety for various different reasons. Okay, some of us can experience anxiety when becoming sexual with a partner. They're not comfortable with their body. I know for me, I was not grown to be comfortable with my body. I was grown up in church, and you can ask people from high school. I never wore sandals, I never wore skirts, I never wore shorts, anything short. Why? Because I was uncomfortable with my body. Okay. That being said, we have ancestors that span from hoes and prostitutes to healers and preachers to everything in between. Whether it was an ancestor that worked their ass off, 2 jobs to take care of their family, plowing the fields, or ancestors that were doctors and lawyers, businessmen, entrepreneurs. So it doesn't matter what is going on in your life, what or where the anxiety is being stemmed from, there is an ancestor that you can draw upon and tap into and call upon for assistance. So going back to the whole sexual thing, if you are uncomfortable with your body, if your partner wants you to be exotic and dance for him and do all these twists and tricks, and you just can't do that shit because you are just not comfortable with your body and you're still trying to process these old paradigms that no longer serve you, you can tap into the energy of an ancestor that was a hoe. Okay. And that ancestor is not going to necessarily teach you how to be a hoe because that is not your end goal, but she can help you to tap into your sexuality, helping you to become comfortable with who you are, with your body, and seeing your own sexiness. Okay. If you are a procrastinator and you're having issues with getting your damn work done, okay? And you know that you need to get shit done and it's giving you anxiety because when time comes for you to sit down and do your work, you find yourself scrolling on Facebook, you find yourself calling your friend, you find yourself going on Netflix. You can tap into those ancestors that were hard workers. Who cares if they were drunks or they were, you know what I mean? This and that. If they were working 2 jobs and they were providing for their family, or they were plowing those fields and farming and waking up 5 o'clock in the morning every day to grind, not coming home till 7 o'clock at night, you have that energy in your bones. Okay. And you have the capacity to tap into that. I will never forget when I first started working with my ancestors, when I started to give my bloodline ashe, when I began to burn ancestor money, when I set up my altar and like actively invited my ancestors into my life and began working on healing my bloodline, the energy of comfort and calm that shrouds me every single day is like no other. All right. When you have direct access to all that which came before you, there is absolutely nothing to be anxious about. And again, this is not going to happen overnight. This takes time, right? And there's different aspects to it in terms of, different parts of self that you need to address, whether it be food or, you know what I mean, that can also be causing the anxiety. But when it comes on to feeding the spirit, when it comes on to the spiritual side of things, honoring your ancestors, inviting your ascended bloodline into your life, your ancestors are your biggest cheerleaders. Imagine having friends that have your back. There's always going to be someone in that crew that fucks with you. There's always going to be some lingering thought in your mind that these are people just like me, and they have the capacity to turn on my ass whenever they're ready to. We can have a falling out tomorrow and my cheerleading squad is gone. You see what I'm saying? But your ancestors will never turn their backs on you. You are a continuation of them, right? It's like saying, I have children. Why would I not want to see my children win and my children's children win? Worse, when I'm gone, it would break my heart to see my children suffer. So as an ancestor, I'm going to do all I can to ensure that my children have the best life, that my children win, that my children are protected and divinely guided. And if they're giving me ashe and giving me ancestor money and making space and room for me in their home through an ancestral altar, that's just going to give me more power to help them in their daily lives. You see what I'm saying? So honoring your ancestors is not just about honoring your ancestors. It is so much deeper than that. Okay? And when you do it, it's not only benefiting you, it's benefiting your children and it's benefiting your lineage and generations to come. Okay? So honor your ancestors, give them ashe, venerate them. Understand that without them, you would not be here. This has nothing to do with worship. We don't worship and bow down to those that came before us. We pay homage and venerate the wisdom and the knowledge and the power of that which is in our blood, that we have the capacity to tap into and be great. All right? So never forget that. Honor your ancestors. And if you are having trouble about where to start, I have a great Ancestral Awakenings program on my page, sacredsynergy.com. You can go on YouTube and do a guided meditation with your ancestors. It's called Ancestral Awakening through DNA Activation. Listen, there's a whole bunch of free resources out there. Take advantage, honor your ancestors, and ease that anxiety.